Sometimes in politics, something or someone we think we know can reinvent, can become something brand new.
Hello, how you doing?
Look beyond the old pinstripe suit, the obligatory pint in hand, because behind the trappings of the familiar, there is something stirring in British politics, something we've never seen before. This is the story of an old face fronting a new party with a fresh language and a radical message.
They've got another thing coming. This country needs the Brexit Party, and the Brexit Party needs you. Thank you.
Please welcome to the stage.
An assault on everything we've known in British political life and how its custodians have allowed him to do it.
The noes to the left, 432.
From May's first Commons defeat in January, day by day, Westminster, our political institutions and our main parties became gripped and tainted by ever greater indecision.
Order!
As the public's frustration grew, it became obvious to me that a new force, Remain or Leave, could use the now inevitable European elections to break through. One man had already been working on it for some time.
Please welcome to the stage, Nigel Farage.
Without anyone noticing, Nigel Farage spent the dying months of 2018 quietly building up a network, an organisation set up by his friend and now Brexit Party chairman, multimillionaire Richard Tice. Leave means leave. Collecting names, supporters, experimenting with social media strategy and grassroots organising. That embryonic organisation became the Brexit Party. I've been following them from their first rally to the last, talked to its leaders and witnessed the genesis of a force which, in only 6 weeks of campaigning, is changing the contours of British politics. When I arrived in Birmingham, I was struck most by the comparison to the amateurish Leave means leave. This was an organisation much changed. The branding, the logo, the professionalism of it all had transformed. And that's before we even reach the message itself.
I'm back.
No mention of immigration, none of the familiar tropes of health and safety or bendy bananas. Instead, again and again, like a laser beam, that this country, this once great country, has been shamed by those who govern us.
That treaty that Mrs May wants to get signed through the House of Commons is such a shameful document. It could only ever have been signed by somebody who had been defeated in war. It is a travesty.
Great turnout.
Of course. With 48 hours notice.
I know.
I think the argument that we are one of the oldest functioning democracies in the world that has seen democracy traduced by our career politicians over the last couple of years is a very powerful argument. The Westminster commentariat and political set perhaps underestimate the underlying level of support I've genuinely got out there across the country.
This queue's very slightly faster than Brexit.
Totally betrayed. Absolutely betrayed.
Well, what does that feel like, betrayal? What does it feel like? Who's one more thing so? How does it feel?
It's gut-wrenching.
Yeah, it hurts
you.
You.
It feels sick in your stomach.
Nigel came around, fighting back, and he's given us that British Bulldog spirit back. And that's what it's all about. Having that British Bulldog spirit.
Wow.
We need it.
2,000 signs, and there were about 1,000 people there today. And, you know, you could just feel in the room it was electric. And it isn't just about Brexit, it's about a sort of transformation of politics. And if Nigel Farage's enemies allow him to effectively become the change candidate, not just for Brexit, but for politics generally, honestly, they won't hear the last of him. It'll be unstoppable. Unstoppable. And this is just the start, this is 4 days in.
Our top story, a disappointing night for both main parties in the local elections.
The Conservatives have lost over 900 seats so far, and the Prime Minister admits her party took a beating.
All good. Testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. All good. Marvellous.
In many walks of life, be it business, be it culture, and be it political campaigning, America's always a few years ahead of us. And I have spent a fair bit of time in America. I've learned one or two things.
Like what?
just that politics needs to be a bit less drab, a bit less dull. It needs to be lively, fun, energy, and that's what we're trying to do here.
Well, as far as we in the Brexit Party are concerned, they can whistle Dixie for their 30 years.
This is like the weird thing now, is that you've got people like Anne Widdecombe, huge like standing ovation and applause for her now, loved by the crowd. People like Anne Widdecombe and Nigel Farage now are sort of lauded as the kind of heroes of the English northern, regional, Midlands working class. That's like what politics has done in the last 10 years. That's what happens in politics. It's just really weird. It's just weird. It's a cultural turn.
Those patronising nincompoops say during their dinner parties, "Oh, poor things, they didn't know what they were voting for." That was what we were voting for Britain to become a sovereign state.
What's wrong with a good old-fashioned British compromise? Something that would bring two sides together. What if it could be shown, just bear with me, what if it could be shown that we would definitely lose jobs and if we came out with a hard Brexit? But what? We'd get over it. We'd get over it. So it'd be worth it anyway, whatever. Yeah? What do you think of Jeremy Corbyn? How will you feel if Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn put a deal together in the next few weeks? The usual political stitch-up.
There's not one person in this audience who would want us to be a victim of this complete surrender. It's a document you'd sign if you'd surrendered in a war.
None of them. None of them. Sky News. Sky News. Boo. Why shame on me? What have I done to you? Fake news.
Well, you report it, aren't you?
I'm a reporter, yeah, but like, what do we say that's fake?
Well, most of it.
I've never been to a Donald Trump rally, but I reckon it's probably not a million miles away from that. Just as the anger, the bitterness. And I just think the idea that if Corbyn and May put a deal together, that anger and bitterness is going to go away. It's for the birds. It's for the birds. It might not come back and affect May, but because she'll be gone. But Corbyn will be a nightmare, and whoever takes over from May will be a nightmare. It's just not going to go away. The anger's not going to subside. No way.
The Brexit Party, out of nowhere, has overtaken the Tories in the polls, but they think Labour voters hold Jeremy Corbyn and his party just as culpable for the paralysis in Westminster, and their vote is soft.
Do you think he understands people like you, places like Pontefract, better than the Labour Party, for example?
Hopefully. Well, Labour don't give a two monkeys. They don't care. There's things happening and they're not bothered.
Well, of course, Yvette Cooper has been one of the leading Remainers in Parliament, or one of the leading...
She's just a traitor. Wasted.
A traitor?
Everything. A traitor to us, to everybody in this area. We were all Labour.
Yeah.
We were all Labour.
It's just a message from my mum to pass on to Nigel.
What, saying what? Oh, Mr. Farage, gutted that I can't come today, but I'll be voting for you 100%. Wishing you every success. Kiss, kiss.
Pass on to Nigel,
Is the kiss,
please.
kiss for you or for Nigel?
No, that's for Nigel.
Right.
She has quoted there, pass on to
pass it.
Nigel. And I also told my brother today that Nigel Farage said, "What time? I love that guy."
Because they both love him.
Oh yes, massive fans.
Let's not be afraid of our flag. Let's not be afraid of our identity. Let's be proud.
In this campaign, Farage has set the terms. He has equated himself and his cause with country. His vision is to believe in Brexit is to believe in Britain. And so the purer the Brexit, the purer your love of Britain. That we are as powerful, if not more powerful in the EU. And if that's your view, then any compromise with them is, by definition, betrayal.
Who do you think holds the cards?
It is almost a dictatorship.
We hold the cards.
We hold the cards.
The EU doesn't, even though they've got a $15 trillion economy and we've got a $2 trillion economy.
We beat Germany twice. We'll beat them again.
So, end of the day, another 650 people
on top of the rally they were at earlier. Farage has got rally after rally after rally right up until election day. He's putting the hard yards in. I think it's fair to say more than any other party. And I just can't believe it, really, in the sense that, as Farage says to me, he said it in there, I wouldn't say it on camera, but he said to me, he can't believe his luck. He can't believe his luck because the two main party leaders, Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn, have just left the battlefield open for him. And they did that for 2 weeks. And as a result, that space that normally, in any national election, the main party leaders would fill, he's filled. And now, there's probably no stopping him. So, I had planned, hoped to be in Wolverhampton for another rally today, but Theresa May has sort of like, well, inconvenienced things a little bit by announcing that she's not going to be around in a couple of months, so I've had to stay here. But fortunately, I can be there without actually, well, being there, because they have a pretty stellar, unusually stellar, social media presence.
The Brexit Party needs you. Thank you.
Good evening, Prime Minister. Well, where we're going, who knows?
Every party rally is streamed to thousands of people on Facebook and Twitter. As the campaign has progressed, the numbers have swelled. Supporters interact and coordinate activity.
I can imagine Mr. Churchill walking down the halls of Westminster with his cane and cigar smoke, coming into this room, standing for the Brexit Party, and then saying, "What are you doing to my party, the Tory party?" and whack them round their head. Britain is a nation of sleeping lions, best not to wake them up. Well, guess what? We woke up.
Can we do it? Can we win?
As the campaign climaxes, Farage dominates. In its closing days, he is struck with a milkshake. He is still loathed by many. Far from brushing off the incident with the milkshake, he furiously accuses Remainers of the radicalisation of politics.
I think we can all agree that politics has become coarser in recent years, but I'll put it to you. Look, do you not think that maybe you are partly responsible for that coarsening? I mean, just a few things that you've said in recent past. You said that if you didn't get the sort of Brexit you want, you'd don khaki, pick up a rifle and head to the front line.
That was a metaphor
Okay,
joke.
no, okay,
said,
let me just...
Excuse me, said during a comedy evening.
Okay, well, you described the British negotiating team as the enemy within. You've said many times in this campaign that May's deal could only have been signed by a nation defeated in war.
Absolutely.
You consistently invoke the language of war, of appeasement, treachery. Anyone who doesn't agree with
I've never used the word treachery, betrayal.
Sure, okay, betrayal. But I've been at many of your rallies, as you know. And very often when you mention people like Jeremy Corbyn or Theresa May or Anna Soubry or whoever it is, you mention their names, you get the crowd to boo. Okay, fair enough, quite panto, but fair enough. And then people shout out things like traitor. Now, you never turn around to them and say, no, excuse me, sir, madam, they're not traitors.
Okay.
They're citizens, they're patriots, I just disagree with them.
I'm sorry. History teaches us something here. If you tell people they are superior, or their views are superior to another group of people, bad things happen. The only way that civilized democracy functions is if the loser consents to the result. And what you've had here since the referendum are some very senior public figures who do not accept the will of the people. And that has radicalized a group.
I think the biggest charge against you in this campaign is that you know it's not that easy to leave. You know full well. Oh. No, wait, just let me finish the point and then respond. You know full well that we've been in this organisation for 45 years. It has permeated every aspect of our lives. We are in one single economic area with the European Union. The reason that it's not easy to leave is because you were right that it was a very powerful dominant force in our life. And other people, like Theresa May and Jeremy Corbyn or whoever, they have got to try and take us out with care because it was so dominant. And then you come along and say, no, it's easy. I think you know it's not easy. But you, for your own political purposes, tell people that it is.
No. We've now got a deadline of the 31st of October, all right? That date will build up in the minds of the British people in the same way that the 29th of March did. We have got many, many months now to build on the work that was already done. To be fair, the European Union have done even more work on a WTO Brexit than we've done. This is not a difficult thing to do, but to do it, you have to believe in it. And what is clear is that Mrs May never believed in it.
This is by far the most ambitious thing I've ever done. We are attempting a peaceful political revolution in this country. It is needed. It is needed. It is needed.
I don't know what's going to happen after these elections, but it doesn't really matter whether he wins them or not, although it looks like he's definitely going to, because he's already won. He's already won because he's made the Conservative Party more like himself, more like him, more like his party, which is exactly what he's done before. There's no way the Conservative Party now is ever going to embrace anything other than no deal. It's abandoning May's deal. It's going to be a new leader of the Tory party, and it's going to be much more like him than it is Theresa May.
Nigel! 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 Nigel!
The thing which is new about the Brexit Party isn't its Euroscepticism. Instead, it is its attitude to politics. It represents a full-on assault on every British political institution, the parties, the media, the courts, parliamentary democracy itself, a system in which people have lost trust, and without that, this party could not exist. We thought the referendum was Britain's great populist revolt. It may have been, but mere prologue.